I just went to hot yoga and my hair looks bad.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Monday night call. This is for everyone who's looking to take their life and their business to another level. And we're so excited and stoked to have Miss Heidi Burkemper all the way from Colorado. She's sharing so generously for us tonight. She is a 5-star Golden Circle with Isogenics, which means she makes a multiple 6-figure income. She's a rock star. She's amazing. We started almost around the same time. Am I right, Heidi?
I think so.
Yeah. Yes. So we've been together for the whole time. And if you want to just share a little bit about your story for those who don't know you, and then we can go on after that to talk a little bit about the training.
Well, Susie, first of all, thank you so much. It's an honor and a privilege for sure to be on this call with all of you. I love this company. I love our team. And it is #one team for sure. Susie and I were just talking about that prior to the call. So my story, I have, what I would say is I've been looking, I love nutrition. I feel like nutrition is, we have our genetic makeup and that kind of thing, but nutrition is what we have control over, what we put in our mouth. And we're all so busy, right? We're all so busy. And to be able, and I really tried hard. I used to really try to feed my family good because I kind of grew up in a family where my mom didn't cook and it was kind of a shit show. We were all kind of on our own making the lean cuisines and that kind of thing. And so I was really into raising my family with good nutrition, et cetera. And I have 2 boys that grew up playing travel hockey, played Division I college hockey. My daughter's a big-time tennis player, so we have a very athletic family as well. So always trying to fuel them like a Ferrari, fuel them with the best nutrients possible. And I found one of 2 things. Number one, it was it was like a full-time job to keep up with that. Or number 2, it just was not, it's actually just number 1. It wasn't convenient. It wasn't easy. And if we wanted to do all that we did and have our kids play all those sports and everything, I just got to the point where there was no way I could do both. Be like the great mom feeding the kids, these great meals. Not to mention, I started this business, as did Susie, about 5 years ago. And let's see, so I'm 52 right now. I was 47? I'm not good at math, but I think around 47. And, really recognizing that, gosh, I'm 47 years old. I'm doing everything right, what they say to do. And I still, 3:00 would roll around and I would have this sinking spell in energy. And I would, that's when my day kind of was starting because the kids were coming home and I'm like, oh. And so I learned from Lynn Hagedorn. I saw on Facebook that she had switched to this company from another company. And I knew her from that company. I was not a big wig. I was a really tiny wig. And, but I always had a lot of respect for her. And what was so interesting in our former company with my athletes, I couldn't use their protein. And I couldn't use they looked at it and they're like, no way are we as athletes going to be using a plant-based protein. And I'm so grateful that we have our dairy-free option now. But, for what my kids were doing, what my boys were doing, it wasn't the right option. And so I wasn't even purchasing from my own company that nutrition. And then some things happened and I was like, I'm going to make a change. And I got my securities license and got my Series 7. And my husband, Paul, owns he built and sold a financial company. And at that time, 5 years ago, I was like, I'll get my securities license. I'm sleeping with the boss. I can get a job, hopefully, and then I found out that Lynn had switched companies and I looked at the protein. I looked at the whey protein and I was like, wow, this sounds like the most stellar protein in the world. And this is what my boys really need. and purchased just the products, and wasn't really at all interested in the business, intrigued about why Lynn left, to be honest. But I was just like, no, I just want to do the protein. And she called me a couple days later. And this is, when synchronicity happens, things like this. And she said, Heidi, Kathy Coover is going to be in your neck of the woods. You've got to go see her. And I was like, wait, you don't understand. I'm not really interested in the business. And she's like, Heidi, you just have to check it out. And that was the beginning of the beginning. Wow. I grabbed a couple friends of mine and said, you know what, let's go check this out. It's probably not something any of us are interested in, but, I will say I love these products. I had them in my body for about 2 days. And I met Kathy, and this is the most interesting thing of all. At her own presentation, she played her own video on the comp plan. And I remember thinking, wow, this company has tools and resources that I was always trying to create in our former company. That's really interesting. She played her own video. They've got this great comp plan video. And even if she's right there, she plays her own. I could do that, and so then I get, 4 or 5 days goes by and Paul stole my products. I was having a presentation. Well, he stole my blender, and I had a few friends over to introduce them to the products because I was like at least interested in sharing with a few people and getting my products paid for. And then my husband started feeling amazing. And then he had to train me for the specific, I was going to do the specific thing in the financial world for his company. And it was October of 2011. Is that right, Susie? October 2011. And he said, I'm not going to have time to train you until after the new year. And I was like, what am I going to do? I mean, my daughter's now driving. My 2 boys are off to college. I got to do something. And I'm so happy that happened. I said, well, I'll take a look at this company then. I could do this on the side even after. And I went to ICU in Phoenix, Arizona. And I remember meeting people just like me and you, Susie, and so many of you on this call, and just going, wow, if they can do it, I can do it too. And we have a financial crisis and a health crisis, and this company provides a solution for both. And I really hit the ground running and really treated it like a business from the very beginning. And it's so interesting because I ran to executive in 6 weeks. And I made 6 figures my first year. And Paul, my husband, really is systems oriented and very business minded, which is, I'm transitioning now into the system that we use. And then, and my business was growing. And then it came to a complete halt. And I stayed at 4-star for a really long time because I stopped doing what was working in the first place. And I started listening to all these other ideas. And I am back rooted in what worked in the first place. And, since I've been doing that, I've broken through to 5-star, and now I just feel like there's no stopping our team, following this duplicatable system. And it's really designed to build leadership and have people duplicate that leadership. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So let me go back a little bit. So you started with a different network marketing company. Mm-hmm. And how long were you in that business?
I was with them for probably 5 years.
Okay, so that's pretty much my story. So I was 5 years. I was an executive area manager. I was always getting to that level where I was almost the regional, but then I would, somebody else would promote up, right? You know how it is. And then we'd stop getting paid, and the comp plan was really kind of easy. But, we need to tell the real stories for these people that are on the call, because they don't know, they only see the the glory, but they don't know the story behind it, right? And
Oh.
it wasn't easy, you know, a lot of rejection. I think it was really great for us to learn about network marketing. But what I really love about you is you've always had your own training and your own systems. You've always been that really smart cookie, you know, to figure it out, to help people with the tools and, you know, really set them up for success, giving them the scripts, telling them exactly, I mean, like word for word, baby steps, so that a no-brainer, anybody can figure it out, right? And, you know, for you in the other company, like me, we were very driven and motivated, and we loved it. I loved the products. I loved being in the company, the culture, but it wasn't financially successful. So when we came over here, it was almost like I said to myself, oh my God, is this for real? Like, what do we have to do next? I was so scared, like the shoe was about to fall. The next, you know, like something bad was going to happen. And I say, so like, what do we have to do? She's like, just keep doing what you just did, you know? And, you know, my road to executive didn't come as easily as yours. You know, I made it to star consultant within 3 weeks, which was the first step, right? But then it took me 4 years to get to executive. So, you know, everybody has their challenges, their ups and downs, but along the way, I was still a 4-star. So the income was still there, but, you know, the recognition was not. Because we know there is a lot of rejection and there is a lot of fallout. So people need to know that, you know, you do lose your executive status. I mean, not everybody does, but you really have to work hard to maintain it. But if it was easy, it would be sleazy, right? I mean, not everybody makes the money because you really have to put the work in, the hard, the time, the dedication, and the hours. So what I really wanted from you is, and you know, we've been talking about this for the past few weeks about going back old school, getting on the phone, having those 3-way conversations with people. I really believe that's the key to our success because that was our foundation. That's how we started. That's what really worked. I feel like people are hiding so much behind text messages and inboxes and putting people into real people, real results. But those are just tools. Really, it's the belly to belly, the face to face, the Zoom call. That's what we really need to get back to. And I don't know if you agree, but I'm pretty sure that you do because we've been seeing much more better results since we've been going back to that old school mentality. And it's usually you and I are usually on the same page when it comes to this, right?
Absolutely. We are exactly on the same page. And, you know, it's interesting as you're saying this, Susie, that first conversation with Lynn, she told me the isogenic story. And I remember asking her, you know, she didn't put me into a Facebook group. She didn't do any of that. She didn't text. We had a meaningful conversation. And she told me the isogenic story, and I remember saying to her, where do you have that written down? Because it was unfathomable to me that she could tell it that beautifully without having it written down. And she said to me, oh, of course I don't. I don't have anything written down. And I just kind of remember thinking, well, you know what? I need to write it down because not that the story shouldn't come from your heart and it needs to be authentic, etc. But we need to be able to teach and train people, and we need to follow a duplicatable system where we're hitting the most salient points. And what I mean about that is in my introductory call, the main things that we're doing is we're explaining what isogenics is. We're showing people how to open their own virtual wholesale grocery store to purchase the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, nutritionally dense fast food. It's going to be the largest health and wellness company in the world. You get these products delivered straight to your door for the same price as I do or Susie does. And I'm explaining to them, you know, what it is, why we're different. And in this intro call, I proactively handle the most common objections and concerns that people have. Because I remember what I was thinking when I was first introduced to it. What makes this different than the thousands of other nutritional lines out there? You know, why is it different? What makes this different? Oh, it's not, you know, I mean, that was one. I addressed that in the intro call.
So who are you doing these calls for?
I'm doing them for it's interesting. I'm going to say this. I'm constantly working my personal business, and I really, guys, your business will not grow. It can grow to a certain point, but if you want your business to grow, you've got to grow it yourself. It starts and ends with you. And when I was stuck at 4-star, it was because I went into kind of management mode, and I got very diluted in my process and system. And I'm so back and so strong now. But who I'm doing them for is, can I share my screen, Susie, so I can show you?
Mm-hmm,
I think that would be really helpful.
I don't think I've restricted it, so go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm such a visual person, so I'll show you exactly what I've done. And a lot of this is like very, I'm just starting to really, everything's starting to really gel. I feel really excited for the people for the person that joins this team tomorrow, because we get better and better, right? As teachers, as mentors, as coaches. But this is my system. Basically, we are working with 3 categories of people at all times. We're working with prospects in an effort to educate them, let them decide, and then we support whatever decision they make, yes or no. Then we're working with those prospects that convert to clients. So we're working with clients, product users, in an effort to support and maximize their product success. And then last but not least, we're working with people that raise their hand and say, Susie, Heidi, I want to do this business with you. And we're working with them in an effort to maximize and help them reach their financial goals. So I really like boundaries, and systems, and it gets it clear in my head. So I've created a tracking sheets in each of those 3 categories with live links that are so easy to follow. And everything, there's so much information overload out there that a confused mind says no. A confused mind says, and you know what? I do a Sunday Grow Pro call every Sunday for my team, and I want to have you on it, Susie. But what I said last night is, you will never go pro, ever, in anything, if you're trying to do 100 different things. If you're listening to what the flavor of the day is, that this works for this person or this team, and you can't go pro, because you've got to stick with a system that duplicates, and you get better and better and better and better and more powerful in that system. And so I'll show you quickly who do I do these with. I use an app which I've just implemented, and people can sign up with a prospect. And this is another mistake I made in my business. People feel like they need to know everything before getting somebody on the phone. I mean, I will tell you, I got to executive in 6 weeks. 1, because I really felt the need to, and I was driven to, but 2, because I didn't learn everything or have to know everything. I used Lynn until I could do it myself. After hearing her 5 or 6 times give that introductory call, which was not written down, I was able to adopt that. But then I would do trainings for my team, and they'd go, wait, back up. Let me write that down. And I realized you're not going to be able to find what you need in the right order and in the right place. Everything's fragmented if you're just writing little pieces down. And I realized we have to put this in a system. And Paul was so helpful with that in really implementing this introductory call and helping me with that. And then the orientation call. But so someone will sign up, and this is really cool. And instead of me, Susie, like coaching people and training people, when someone joins my team now, I tell them, you only need to know one thing: how to schedule an introductory call. That's it. You don't need to know anything else. And even those who have been in this business for 4 years or 5 years with me or 3 years, I'm telling them, you know what, go back to the basics and go ahead and reach out to the people that you've kind of introduced to Isagenix, and they're still kind of lurking around and you're not sure if they're a yes or no because you've never had a meaningful conversation with them. Go back to them and say, hey, I'm retraining and I would love to have a redo. And so I'll show you a text or a script, if you want me to, where you can find that on how people that have even been in the business for a long time are circling back with their warm market and actually having results. So they put their name and email, and this syncs with my calendar, and they can choose if they want to do a Zoom or a phone call. And then it's set up, and then they confirm the booking. It blocks it out on my calendar. It's just really easy, but you'll notice that I probably work 9 to 5. I probably work 8 hours a day, but you'll notice that I have a lot of time that I'm working on my personal business. So that's what I'm doing there. And I do the same thing. I schedule intro calls and conduct an intro call. I mean, is this amazing how efficient especially
no one needs to have that, exact calendar that you do. I mean, I use my calendar, which works just as well right here, my handy dancer planner, and I have my appointments written in there, but I have my time scheduled out, and it's intentional work time.
Exactly. So whatever works, it's just some ideas of how I'm, starting to streamline things and kind of take control, really treat it like a business, which this is. So I try to fill this sheet out every week. I mean, sometimes I don't, but I will put even prospects' names of those in my 4PET, their prospects, and kind of keep track, and then, these are live links to everything that you would need to know. And like I said, this is the only thing you need to do and get comfortable with when you first start your business. Here's how I feel about RPRR. I love it. It's a great tool. As Paul, my husband, says, it's the wimp out. It is the wimp out. People follow those who know where they're going. And the reason that, Susie, you're where you are is because people know that people know where you're going and they're following you. You're asking somebody in Real People, Real Results to do the least possible thing. Give me a thumbs up so that you can do the least possible thing. Welcome them, copy paste a thing. And it just doesn't build a strong foundation like this does. I like to do 5 at least introductory calls, enrollments, and orientation calls with my personally enrolled. And here, I mean, you guys can have access to this, but I think people get excited about this because a lot of you, I think, are veterans. And here's a script that you can copy, paste, customize, authenticize, put it in your own language. But hey, I'm circling back with you because when I first started introducing Isagenix to my friends, I didn't really know what I was doing. Do any of you feel like that? Like you didn't really know what you were doing. And now I'm learning how to do it right and do it really professionally. Because I'm so passionate about these products, I've made a commitment to learn how to present better. You're putting yourself out there. You're being authentic and vulnerable. As such, I'm in the process of retraining with my mentor, Susie or Heidi, or whoever your mentor is that can do this elegantly. As part of the retraining process, Susie's asked me to schedule a few calls so that I can listen and take notes. It's totally fine if the products aren't a fit for you. I'm just looking for a willing candidate to do me a favor and hop on a 20-minute training call. Would you be up for that? I know it's a lot to ask, but it would be a big help. Who wouldn't feel comfortable saying that to someone, I think? And so that's really created a lot of, even people that have been marinating in Real People, Real Results. A lot of my team members are going back to those people because all of a sudden it's like, well, how do I follow up? Are they a yes or no? And this brings it offline and having a meaningful conversation. So that's that. And here's the introductory call. And what I do is I either do, if I'm on the phone, I literally read this and you know what, again, if you're going to go pro, you need to become a professional in knowing this script. And it has all the most salient points and the most powerful and efficient and effective verbiage to have a powerful conversation with someone, if that makes sense. And every single Paul really did all of this. I mean, he is so good at sales and understanding the psychology of sales and understanding that we need to be proactively handling the most common objections before they ever come up. And, connecting with people, asking them questions, and then educating them, on our science, on why ours is different, on these 5 pillars, which are the core, and giving them an opportunity to say no. Being very comfortable. Like, I've never gotten off the phone with this script or the presentation. I have slides also that I'll do on a Zoom call. I've never gotten off a phone call or Zoom presentation where I haven't felt completely comfortable. And I know that the person on the receiving end, the prospect, feels very comfortable as well. No one with this is going to think of you as that person. Mm-hmm. No one.
So basically the intro call is pretty much a 3-way call.
It is a 3-way call until, this is so funny. Someone asked me today in one of my Facebook groups, or I think it was the other day, but I was asked, I think April O'Leary asked me, do you do the intro call as a 3-way call for your personal prospects, Heidi? And I kind of misunderstood the question. And I said, yeah, always. And she goes, oh my God, well, who does your intro calls? Kathy Cooper. And it just cracked me up because I thought, you do, like, I could never have gotten to be a pro at the intro call had I not done it and done it and done it and done it. But there's a time to kick even your personally enrolled out of the nest, mm-hmm. so that we are empowering them rather than enabling them. We're building leaders. We're not building. We're not building.
What is it called, Heidi? When you say you show, you teach, then they do it, and then you watch them do it. What is that? What is that called? I forget what that is.
Yeah, you do, they listen. And then after 5, they do, you listen. And kind of, there's here's the thing. You have to be good at reading a script. Honestly, you've got to put some passion in your voice and authenticate it to your personality, that kind of thing. And then, as someone's coach, sponsor, you're kind of critiquing them in a very positive way. Like, usually, almost everyone does it great. I just say, oh my God, I loved how you said this. I loved it when you did this. I found on those, you listen, when I listen, the main thing I'm trying to do is give them lots of confidence that, yeah, they can do this themselves. And they may not do it perfectly, and that's okay. And to be very comfortable saying to the person that they're doing it with, hey, you know what? This is like my first intro call that I've really conducted by myself. I'm a little nervous. Just be real with people. And it's just, and then, so they do, and then that repeats itself. So they do for their personally enrolled, and the personally enrolled listens, and then the personally enrolled does it for their enrolling sponsor or mentor. And the enrolling sponsor listens, and then that duplicates. And it sets up a duplication process that's very strong.
So these are easy to duplicate, and where they find this is on theisodreamteam.com.
Yes.
Okay, and where should they click? Can you show a little bit of the navigation of that website?
Absolutely. Well, it's so easy because, again, you know, and it's funny, I feel like I heard, of course, repetition's the mother of all skill, and I heard people need to hear something 21 times for it to integrate, for them to really digest it. That's why I'm very careful about all the great new ideas, you know, because it can really distract your focus. And so here, you know, you'll hear me say this on almost every training call, the 3 categories of people we're working with. And then all of a sudden it'll start sinking in. So it's intuitive. Once you understand the 3 categories that you're working with, it's intuitive where to go for what. So, you know, for me, I really like to feed my new person one bite of the elephant at a time. And I will spend, here's all the live links and the process of the prospecting tracking sheet. I will spend 90% of my time with somebody right here, because I'm asking someone to do this, the scariest thing they'll ever have to do in their business first. And that's picking up the phone. And I tell them to pick up the phone. You know, pick up the phone, let them hear your voice, and learn how to schedule an introductory call and make it authentic, and it should come from the heart. And I have verbiage in there, but here's where you find everything. You know, when you, obviously part of the prospecting process is the introductory call. That's the main component. So it's right here. And if you click on that, it takes you right there. Makes sense? So you can find everything there. If you want to know verbiage and how to schedule the introductory call, it's right here.
Susie, is anyone seeing her screen?
Yes, and that.
I can.
Do you not see my screen?
Yeah, it's clearly on there. And we're going to post the link so that you can navigate it afterwards. I'm going to post it in the invitation, and then we'll post it on the call. So, so let's get back to the basics. So for me, RPRR is a great tool as an icebreaker, because there's a lot of people on Facebook that I don't talk to all the time. And I might say to them, hey, listen, you know what? A few friends of mine and I started this brand new group. Would you be interested in taking a look, or would you be open in taking a look at it? You know, these are some of the solutions that we offer. You know, what might interest you? That'll be just my opener. And then once I get them in there, of course, I'm trying to get them on the phone as quickly as possible, because I want to share my story. And that's basically what you're saying here. The intro is sharing your story. And for someone who's brand new, they need someone who's a professional, who's been in it a while and has a story that's a little stronger than yours when you're first starting. That's all it is. And it helps to solidify, and it helps to have someone see the bigger picture, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
These are the tools that you're laying out here with the scripts, that it's actually, you know, giving them the baby steps with the verbiage. I think Denise was asking the exact verbiage. So now, you know, we can find it right here on Heidi's website. Adriana said, how do you keep track of who you enroll once they are enrolled? She has a tracking sheet that she's clearly using here. And I think, do you use any of the Isogenics tools?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just going to back up a little bit, because I agree with you. RPR is a really great virtual store prospecting tool. This is what I found. I found in my business, you know, after experimenting a little bit, that I am using real people, real results in 2 ways. I actually don't just put somebody in there, because here's the thing. There's no upside to it. And here's why I say that. They might go in there and get some, I don't know, some misconceptions, like, oh, this is just a weight loss company. Or they may say, oh, this is, I think it's very nice and professional, but I mean, I've heard from people, oh, that thing drove me crazy. I got all these notifications. And here's the thing, like, if I schedule an introductory call with someone and conduct the introductory call with somebody, I have control of that process, and they're not going to get any misconceptions. And when I've started people off on RPR, I've noticed that many times I just don't hear back from them, and I'm wondering, did they see something they didn't like? Did it feel annoying to them? I don't know. So what I'm doing is I am doing this as a first line, scheduling an introductory call, conducting the introductory call, and many times, guys, they're ready to get started. And I enroll and schedule the orientation call. Uh-oh. Hold on. And sorry, guys, we've got a little fire. I'm going to go into my daughter's cute. Oh, Paul.
See, this just goes to show we're real life people.
I'm going to go out here. You can see the mountains. But anyway, so that is what I found. Like, who here has put somebody into Real People, Real Results, never to be heard from again? Like, they just don't answer you. That's happened to me, and I don't know why. When I schedule a call, and if someone reschedules it or says no, it's like I don't never hear from again, and crickets. It doesn't happen. So I'm using this as the first thing is schedule the intro call, conduct the introductory call. And here's my thing. When you're first starting this business, and even now being in this business for 5 years, I'm on an awareness campaign. I want everyone to know what I'm doing, whether it's a fit for them or not, because I'm going to have a meaningful conversation with them. And at the end of the call, if they say, you know what, it's not a fit for me, I'm just not interested, I'm going to be so gracious and say, thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are. You know what? I am really looking for people I can help. And now you know what I do, and you know about our solutions. If there's ever a time where you can think of someone, or someone comes to mind that you think I might be able to help, it would mean the world to me for you to give them my name and number, and I promise to provide white glove service. So I do it this way, and I've experimented with both, and this is what's working best for me, is if they're not ready to get started, then I add them to Real People, Real Results. Then I add them, because I will say, a lot of times I don't get a yes or no, I get a not now. And that's when I'll say, well, you know what? Maybe the timing's not right. Do you think this would ever be of interest to you? Oh yeah, definitely. It's just not the right timing. We're going on vacation next week and blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, well, you know what? I'd love to add you to our Real People, Real Results group. And I use it as a kind of a dripping tool, because they see our content posts, right? And we're always keeping it in front of them. But that's kind of how I've been doing it, and it's been working so well. So I'm going to keep doing it this way, and we'll see. But that seems to be what's really, really working for our team, is doing this part first. And then, like, I'll give you another example. If it's not appropriate to schedule an introductory call, because we all have, like, I have 3,000 Facebook friends or something, and some of them I haven't seen in a million years, and it would be weird to call them and say, oh, I'm so excited. I started, this new business. I believe everyone can benefit from the products. Would you be willing to get a call? Then in some instances with cold market or people that it's kind of uncomfortable to do that, I will just add them to Real People, Real Results as a default.
Exactly. And that's just the icebreaker. You really still want to get on the phone and follow up with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you sharing your screen so that people can see the page. And now I'm going to open it up because some people have some questions for you. Okay. So
Awesome.
if you want to ask, maybe Heidi, you can stop sharing your screen so we could see everyone. And if you want to ask Heidi a question, unmute yourself and ask Heidi.
I know you guys have a million questions.
Hi, Heidi. How are you?
Hi, Denise. How are you?
I'm good. So just to understand clearly, so you do your own introductory calls for your own people, and then for your team, you schedule the three-ways. That's what you do.
I do my own introductory calls because I can do them well.
Right.
I schedule the first 5 introductory calls with not only my personally enrolled, but anybody in my organization, the first 5.
Right.
And then, or, you know, as many as they need. I mean, maybe some people need more, but the whole idea is that introductory call, in my mind, once people really get comfortable and understand everything in that introductory call, they know everything they need to know to present Isagenix or to answer questions. I use parts and portions of the intro call in almost every conversation I have.
Right.
And if you do trainings, you know, like somebody will have a training on how to close, but then you got to go find it and figure out where does it line up in the process. Make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the close is in the introductory call. A lot of people are like, well, I need to know about the products. Yeah, you do, but only the 5 pillars. Only the 5 pillars. You need to know how to explain the 5 pillars. And you don't need to know everything about them. You need to know the bullet points that are in the introductory call. And that's enough.
Right.
If you need to hear more than that, send them an Isagenix tool.
And you do an hour call, Heidi? You schedule an hour?
I schedule an hour. That's a great question, but the call is actually 20 to 30 minutes.
Right. Okay.
Depending on, but I schedule an hour on my calendar, and here's why. I did 3 of them today. Bianca's on, right? Okay, Paul actually did the one with Bianca, but I need a half hour afterwards to, let's see, is Beverly Vincent? That's who I'm thinking of. Beverly Vincent. We talked about how to follow up with this certain prospect and what to send her, what Isagenix tools to send her. And so I'm telling you, people will learn more from the process of doing an introductory call. That's when I show them, okay, we're going to go to isagenixhealth.net. They had questions about this. We're going to Google search naturopath. Beverly had somebody who is interested that's in naturopath. So we found Jen Jeffries, Isagenix naturopath. We found Jen Jeffries' videos, perfect tool to send this person. And now Bev knows how next time after 5 calls, especially, where to find the right tools to follow up with someone. So that's why I always schedule a half hour. It's really 30 minutes of padding.
That's smart. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Thanks, Heidi.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else questions for Heidi?
No one ever has questions, but they really do, I bet.
I know. And then afterwards, they're like, you know what I wanted to ask? And which is great.
I have a
Anyone?
question.
Yes.
I do. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Lola.
Thank you for being on our call tonight. Where does the why conversation come in?
The what conversation?
The why, their why. Do you have that with them at all?
Oh, okay. For me, the why conversation it's sort of in the introductory. Now, it's sort of in the introductory call, but I basically ask them, I always start with products. Now, when I'm like out and about, everybody knows I'm always planting seeds about the business too. I'm looking for a few key people to join me in this. This business has changed my life. I absolutely love this company, but it all starts with the products. And here's why I do this, Colleen, because I found that, like I had somebody who was like, well, let me go find my 2 people and then I'll enroll. And I was like, what? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It starts with the products. People have to we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So I don't have the deep why conversation until I start training on the business coaching tracking sheet. Mm-hmm. I feel it's premature and a little weird. So what I ask in terms of why so I start, freedom from physical and financial pain, physical's first. So I asked, Colleen, we have solutions in 4 key areas: weight loss and management, healthy aging, energy, or enhanced athletic performance. Which of those 4 solutions resonates with you the most? Mm-hmm. And 9 out of 10 people say weight loss. And then I ask them some questions. So what are you currently doing, Colleen, to address those goals? Are you currently doing something, and they'll tell me. Mm-hmm. How's that working for you? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they're like, not too well. And I have a conversation with them and, so how many pounds are you looking to lose? I had a conversation with somebody today who gained 100 pounds during her pregnancy and she wants to lose 100 pounds. And, and then when they tell me what their main goal is, I say, well, you know what the beautiful thing about this is? You're going to lose weight, not by starving yourself, but by feeding yourself nutritionally potent calories than you've ever fed yourself in your life. And you're getting, as a byproduct of feeding your body the right nutrients and the right combinations, you're going to lose weight. But you know what else, Colleen? You're going to gain energy. You're going to age healthfully. And you're going to you're going to be fueled for performance. It's not going to be like, oh gosh, I've got to go work out. You're going to want to because your body's fueled for success. So what, Colleen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to lose that weight? And I ask them, and if they say anything less than a 10, I said, well, it doesn't sound like it's that important to you. And it's almost like almost everybody ends up going, oh, wait, it really is a 10. And then at the end of the call, when I talk about the 30-day money back guarantee, I can go back to that and say, you told me you were a 10. There's a 30-day money back guarantee. When I ask at the very end, is there any reason why you wouldn't want to start today? I can go back and say, you said you were a 10. You're worth it. You're worth this investment in your health and energy. This is the best health, that it gives me power in the closing, and really, all of our goal, right, is business builders in this company is to help people get healthy. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad. I've pushed people pretty hard at the close. If they say they're a 10, I push them pretty hard. And I'm so glad I do because you know what? I get text messages every day of people thanking me. Mm. So you know what? Don't be afraid to push at the end. You said you were a 10. You're worth it. There's a 30-day money back guarantee.
You would do that whole conversation you just had with me in the introductory call, like toward the end, toward the close, find out.
Yeah, if you pull up the introductory call, you'll see that. But okay. I do think it's important for people to do the first 5 with somebody who's skilled at doing it because there's a sound in your voice and a way of saying things and a tempo, if you will.
Mhm.
I
So
think we
yeah,
really need to get clear on asking a lot of questions as well. I feel like a lot of people on this call are, it took me a long time to do it. I have a list of questions that I have in front of me, even though I've done them a million times, just to keep myself on track, just like these scripts. You have them in front of you. I mean, at this point, Heidi, we don't really need to even look at them because we've done them so many times, repetition, 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 but we still keep it in front of us because that's the way that we are conditioned to make sure that we're on track. But it's all in the questioning, Colleen. I just really believe if we ask more questions in the beginning, she's telling me this woman wanted to lose 100 pounds. Yeah. Okay. So when was the last time that you were at that weight? How did it make you feel? If I showed you a way that you can get to that point and keep it off, would that be important to you? How important is that to you? Those are the questions you're asking from a position of what can I do for you? How can I be of service to you? Not what is good for me, because it's not going to be the same one size fits all for everyone. Make sense?
I get that. I just wanted to know where that all fit in.
Yeah, it's always in the intro call or the three-way call. I mean, 90% of the people who've ever done like a three-way call with me, I mean, they've signed up right away, like same day. It's just, it becomes repetition because the more you do it and the more you grow your list, the bigger your business can be. And, I want to be mindful of time, guys, because we usually try to keep the call to about 45 minutes. I want to thank Heidi so much for taking the time out from her busy schedule. She's in Colorado and she's in a different time zone. Her family is eating dinner. I can hear them chomping away, and I'm sure she wants to join them. So we are so blessed to be, partners in this journey. And I am so blessed with your friendship. And I do appreciate everything that you do for us, Heidi. And I would love for us to maybe take 2 minutes if anybody wants to share anything that they got from this weekend. Because, I didn't want to just skip that part because we had about 9 new people, at least from my own personal team, that were at ICU. Anybody who wants to unmute and share, we'll take a couple of shares, 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll end the call.
Yeah, me.
Go ahead.
What Tom Smith said, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but he said at the end of his first training, for me, first training, was, we don't sell shakes, we sell our hearts of service. I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but that was basically it, and I love that.
Just keep unmuting, guys. We have so many of you that were there this weekend.
I was new. I'm Lola.
Hi, Lola.
I was new. And I actually have been marinating with Colleen for quite a long time because I've got so many illnesses and waiting for Social Security and on and on and on and on and things. And I knew that I had to do the best nutrition that I can, no matter whether, I know that we do not ever claim that it cures or makes anything better. You can't do that. But I still need to feed myself the best nutrition. I have a responsibility to do that. What was my point? Oh my gosh. And once I was able to do it, I knew that I was going to do it. I was just waiting for my money to come in. So it's just like, every so often Colleen would check on me, and that's okay. And it's like I waited and waited and waited because I've been, 4 years in this struggle with 24-hour pain. And hopefully it's starting with some weight loss, but with these other enzymes and vitamins and the adaptogens and being able to understand that specific nutritional part of it for me specifically, because I'm really analytical like that. And I like to be able to explain that. It's like I had somebody last night tell me, you're like my sister. Don't give me all the details. Just cut to the point. But for a new person, this is my question. For a new person, you say that you like to do it at least 5 times. Is that a 3-way call every time with a new person for 5 times?
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what, to me, it's their, it's like, even if you get a job at Starbucks, they don't say, okay, start making lattes and start making cappuccinos. And, you're trained on how to make those drinks
Right.
with a mentor. And Lisa Mahiger is on the call right now, my dear friend. And I just want to kind of tell you the power of this 3-way call and this Zoom application. I mean, look at us, guys. I know I'm looking at Bianca, who I know is in Florida, and Susie and so many of you in the New York area, Debbie, who's in the Midwest, and me in Aspen, Colorado, and all over the country and soon world. And we're able to connect with people in such a convenient way. And Lisa, I think it was 2 weeks ago, she said, oh, I'm meeting with 2 of my nurse friends. It's at a coffee company. And I said, why aren't we doing a Zoom call with them? At like 8 p.m., I said, it's going to be noisy. You're going to have to do it yourself. Lisa, are you there? You're there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should. She has and they both signed up. So Lisa.
Right.
Zoom.
Yeah, it was so helpful, amazing. So Heidi got on, and Karen and Cindy, and they both signed up. They both signed up with custom packs, so 30-day custom packs. And I just listened in, and I'm new at this as well. I love these Zoom calls are phenomenal to me, because it's, you feel like you're right there with the person. And my experience in speaking is not all that great, so I'm learning from Heidi. Heidi's teaching me, and it's a fantastic system. So I was really excited that they signed up. I have 2 more nurse friends I'm going to talk to her about after this.
Nurses are very, very good to go to, because in fact, it was a nurse that I was talking to about this that told me that cut to the point,
Right.
and I am new. I'm not afraid of a microphone. I used to work in radio. I worked at AT&T. I did training there, and if you're doing it on the telephone, the tip that you have to remember is that your voice is 97% of the tone of your voice. That's
Right.
what's going to help. The product really is. What I got from this weekend is the product is the main thing, and that we have to be a product of the product.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share? We're good? Okay, Heidi, thank you so much again. We love you and appreciate you. We're going to post the link to her page for those scripts, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks again. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Susie.